I'm going to cover this model Pioneer. It's an AVH-X1600 DVD. This is their entry level for 2014 for their car AV receivers. First, I'm going to show you everything it comes with. This unit, and that is a 16-pin power speaker harness, a 3-feet USB extension cable. Oddly enough, a wireless remote control, which doesn't even come with their flagship models this year, but that's the change. It's one of the changes, and it's a good change. Front of the unit, which we're going to get into a lot more deeper shortly, and in the back, whoa, what happened, Pioneer? A lot for the money this year. Look at this. They really turned up the heat. Somebody made a decision and says, man, let's just put it all on the table this year. Look on the left side. There's 1, 2, 3 pairs of preamp outputs, front, rear, and sub, in an entry-level in-dash DVD. What? Dedicated camera input. Right there's your antenna lead, regular power harness, no big deal there. Over here, look at that, steering wheel control ready. RGB plug for an expansion GPS navigation system like the AVIC U250. Wow. Dedicated AV inputs, outputs, USB plug in the back. As I showed you, the free extension cable is included, which is like, what the heck? Wow. I can hardly wait to see the rest. For Pioneer, right? That's to say the least. Actually, I was not that excited about doing this review at all. That's why I actually saved it for last. And by the way, if you're looking at Pioneer stuff for this year, 2014, or just anything in this lineup, for whatever reason, I have actually done a complete and comprehensive review of all the models. From the 1600, I covered the 3600, 46, 5600, and the AVIC Z150BH, and I even went into showing you how to do the DVD parking brake bypass for this year. I mean, I really went balls to the wall and just went crazy with Pioneer this year. So you guys always ask for it, and you beg me for it, and you plead me for it, so I said, you know what, I'm actually going to do it. So this is my day. Basically, it's Pioneer from like morning, noon, and night. So this is the last one on my DVD receivers. This is the 1600 DVD, like I mentioned. I did save this for last because I didn't have high expectations for it, but lo and behold, this was going to be the one that's going to surprise me the most. And maybe for a good way, because when I did the last reviews for Pioneer, oddly enough, I thought that the AVIC would have gotten the most views and the most attention and love from people, and oddly enough, it was the complete opposite. It was the entry level, like the 1600 will this year, I'm sure, no doubt, get the most views and the most interest. This unit deserves it. So far, it deserves it. So let's start out with not just all the good, but let's also talk about some of the bad things. I mean, obviously, the USB extension, I'm loving that. A real book that this thing came with. I don't know if I showed you, but look at this thing. It's a Bible. Included, that's nice. It's not just some cheap, flimsy disc that you can read. The remote control, which is excellent. I like it. I mean, for included in the price, I mean, who doesn't like that? I mean, Pioneer has always been notorious for just milking you with all the accessories. Not so much this time. I actually have my iPod plugged in. I'm using my standard transfer sync cable, which everybody has for their iPod. I plugged it right into my USB port in the back of the unit. It's working perfectly, so it's a joy. So while this thing is doing its little demo mode, I'm just going to give you an overview of some of the outer, thoughts of this unit. First one is that they did not give you the trim ring for the outside, which they used to give you, which is nice, and I kind of miss it. For such a beautiful gloss black finish, if you ever needed that little bit to cover that space in your dash, it's not there. Neither is the sleeve, the mounting cages. I mean, Pioneer has never really been big on giving those away anyway. It's really always been Kenwood that gave them away and other companies. But it would have been nice, and to the best of my knowledge, I don't see the double DIN mounting kit that they used to make, which is an ADT VA133, should you remember that. If you never heard of that, that used to be the double DIN dash mounting kit for doing custom installations, or if you just had a hole and you just needed a place to mount it and a way to do so. That was the kit that Pioneer made for that specific application. So in that respect, I can frown on that, I guess, a little bit, but again, is it the end of the world? No, it's not. So moving forward, all your buttons are laid out predominantly on the left side. They start from the top, working down as your volume up, volume down, your mute button. This is the main home screen menu button. your mode, which toggles your sources, and then you have your forward and backwards for, say, radio stations, iPod, changing songs, that kind of a thing. Nothing else anywhere else, with the exception of up on the top, there is the remote sensor eye, there's a reset button here, and then there is the eject button. The slot load for the disc is located on the top, of course, and that's really all there is to it. Now this radio is MIXTRAX, I hope I'm saying that correct. It's MIXTRAX compatible. It's a Pioneer thing. They have a lot of information on their site about it. I'm not really a big user of it. I never actually used it, but you can create your own, mega mixes for your own audio and get crazy with visual effects and all this kind of silliness if that's what you're into. It is Smart App ready, which Pioneer has over 30 apps in their app store currently, which you can utilize and work with this unit. Again, I would advise anybody to spend some time looking into that if you're choosing to get this radio, and you just, this is good education. It's good to see this, but it's also good to get some information from several sources to put it all together and make a good decision on your own behalf. So with that said, let's turn this thing on. Let's see what we got. This is the home screen, very reminiscent of all the other stuff that's in their lineup for this year. The look is a little bit more simplified than I've seen on some of their more elaborate systems, but then again, this is not their elaborate system. Basic on and off. Aux, there's your Pandora app, which is inherently built into the screen, which is interesting. Your rear view camera input, which is dedicated. You can turn it on by power, negative or positive trigger, of course. You cannot do a reverse image feature, in case you were curious. Your iPod, which mine is plugged in, I'm not going to mess with that yet, and the apps we're not going to touch on. That's going to be a separate video because that in itself is a whole video. Your disc, which is nothing located in here. Your radio, just like everything else. This is a cool little layout. I like the screen. I'll tell you why I like the screen. I like it because the presets are laid out here. I like this little button. I like the way it comes in and out. I like the way they've laid out and made good use of all these screens. There's 18 presets in FM, like there has been for every radio, including Pioneer, for like eons, which is laid out right here. Very, very good. They really made good use of this feature. BSM, which is Best Stations Memory, it's a useless button, but they put it there just because the people are accustomed to seeing it. I like that. They had this quick button where you could toggle your sources. Very nice. I really like that. Your Pandora, your aux, but let's go back to that radio. This is not an HD radio, so you're not going to see RDS information, of course, but who cares, because most likely you can care less for it anyway. Your FM and your AM, there's 6 AM presets. If you don't take, say there's no 1 to 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, just 6 because it's AM, right? You're lucky you even get one station on AM. So there's your FM, get rid of that stuff. Over here you can notice that they have this new look for their to change the stations and stuff. It's kind of like Clarion-esque with their old analog brought digital, which they did with the NX702 series. I think that's just so cool. I like the way they did it. They have the little tag icon. The buttons are small, but they're not too small. It's laid out really well. It has a local indicator, which is cool. It's useful information. I love the fact that they have the clock, the day, the date, all laid out right here. Your presets, your EQ is always a quick shortcut icon to it. And on the EQ, this is no slacker when it comes to EQ. 8 bands of graphic EQ. I mean, dude, I've seen radios that cost twice as much as this that don't even have this. And that's great. And it's easy to use. It's fun to play with. It's nice. You got two setups for 2 custom unique users. And you have, of course, all the useless, factory defaults. But that's cool. I mean, what's not to like there? That's awesome. Of course, that's not going to be there because I didn't register my phone. And then, of course, you have all your main menu settings. Your aux input, you could toggle these on and off, so that way they're minimized or maximized on your home screen display. You could turn these on. Device connection, it knows that it's not an Android, it's an iPhone. MirrorLink settings, again, another video. It's coming of age. It's not quite full circle, so that way I'm not going to waste a whole lot of your time watching it and talking about it. Your demo mode, MIXTRAX setup, which again I haven't touched. Your system language, your mute attenuator, camera polarity, which I talked about. Ever scroll, which is basically just the information, rolling across the screen. Nice that it has it. Some units don't even have it. auto AV sensing, which is another unique inherent feature. I mean, it's very cool. A lot here to like. X out. I want to show you on the iPod now. Starting out on the main home screen. Okay. So as you see, it's all laid out. It's a big, iPod. Like, you always know what source and exactly where you're located on your screens on this radio, which is nice. It's not everybody is like a radio genius, and some people just like that simplicity. I even like it. But here you go. You got 4 lines of text, not just 2 or 3. The song, the performer, the album, genre, all laid out very well. I mean, of course, my iPod isn't, maybe, set up properly. If had it been, this would probably be a little bit different, because, it would say what type of song it was, like jazz, etc. For this case anyway. Over here, your random, your repeat, all that kind of stuff is laid out right here. You can drag your song to a certain location. Say if you were listening to an audio CD or an audio book or something like that, this would become extremely valuable, and it shows you the time of where you are in the track. Change the song right there. You can use the app mode right there from a touch of a button. Searching is a breeze. Look at that. Perfect. Now, what's really cool about these Pioneers is you can use your finger and drag, which is excellent, as well as this. You don't just have a choice of one or the other. You actually get both, and I really like that. And I know you will too. Your music files are here, as well as video. They broke it down into 2 separate icons, which is amazing. That's the first radio I've even seen that even had that. On much higher end units, even it's, the more I look at this radio, the more I can see that they really put an awful lot of time and effort into this unit. I can see it, and I'm sure you can too. So I can see for sure that this radio is going to be an extremely good seller for Pioneer. So good for them. You know what? I mean, I know that a year or so ago, I really put the bash on this company, because I didn't like a lot of this stuff that they had done, and I got a lot of people freaking out and shaking their fists at me, saying, but hey, you know what? I can't just always tell you what's good about something and how great it is and how wonderful it is. I got to tell you the truth, because otherwise, why would you bother watching my videos or anybody else that's around to watch videos? You can watch anybody's BS. If you want to hear BS, there's plenty of BS. Go to the manufacturer, because they'll BS you to death because they want to sell you something. Me, personally, I don't care if you buy it or not. It doesn't matter to me. I'm just here to educate you, inform you, and review things. That's what I do. And I hope that you respect what I say. And I mean, last year when it wasn't so good, when I said stuff, this year is complete opposite, and it's good. That's hopefully Pioneer heard what I said and they improved. Maybe I had some small part to doing that. Most likely that's not the case, but I like to think positively, so maybe that is the case. But in any case, this is my review of the AVH-X1600 DVD. Be sure to check out some of my other reviews if you're interested in this piece or the step-up pieces. I have a few things this year. I have a lot to offer. There's a lot to like about these Pioneers, so that's my review. That's it. There you go.